Hello friends, today we are going to learn how to perform OS patching on CentOS 7 server. Before starting this activity, let's understand what is OS patching and why we need to perform OS patching. Operating system, that is OS patching, is important to keep the IT system and the application in your cloud or on-premise environment safe from malicious users and exploit vulnerability. There are three ways of OS patching on CentOS server: OS patching through ISO image, OS patching through remote repository, and OS patching through vendor repository, that is through internet. This complete activity is divided into 6 parts. We will patch the server using ISO image. We will create a remote repository. We will patch the server using remote repository and exclude Apache packages. We will patch the server using vendor repository and exclude kernel packages. We will remove the oldest kernel. We will boot the server using old kernel. Before starting this activity, let me demonstrate. Below is the environment used for demonstration. We have 3 servers. The first server is CentOS 1 server, which we will create as a remote repository. The second server is a web server, that is CentOS 2, and the last server is a database server, which is CentOS 3. The activity is performed on Linux KVM. You can refer my blog this. And the web server and database servers are created using the below blog. Prerequisite for this activity is we will copy the host file. We will copy the pre-checks and post-check files, and we will attach the ISO image to each and every servers. We will use nettool and NFS-util packages. We will mount the NFS partition, and we are going to mount the ISO image on MNT folder. On web server, we are going to do temporary mounting of an IP address. So these are the 3 servers you can see over here. It is CentOS 1. The IP address is 192.168.2.201. CentOS 2 IP address is 192.168.2.202, and the last one is CentOS 3. The IP address is 192.168.2.203. So here we are copying the etc host and the post check file on all the servers. So here we have already attached the ISO image to the VMs. I will let you know why we have attached the ISO image to the VM. Now let's log into the CentOS 1 server and install the packages, that is nettool and NFS-util. Nettool packages are used for in my pre-checks and post-check script, and whereas NFS-util is used for mounting the NFS file system. We have created the folder. Now we are going to mount the NFS mount point on the NFS share. Now you can see this, everything is temporary, nothing is permanent, because I have not updated the FS tab. So this is the second one. We will perform the same thing on the second server also. So this is the temporary, we have added one IP address on the servers since it is a web server. Now we will log in to CentOS 03 CentOS VM3, which is our database server, and now we will perform the same activity. So let's start the part 1. Let's patch this server using the ISO image. Let's log into CentOS 01, CentOS VM1, and we will create a local repo. For creating local repo, you need to go to the folder etc yum repo directory. There you will find multiple repo files. You have to move all the repo files to the backup directory. Then after that, we will create a local repo file. In the local repo, the name will be CentOS. The base URL is the one of the most important, where in this scenario it will be file and /mnt. The mnt is the partition on which we have mounted the ISO image. Then after that, we will be enable is equal to 1, and GPG check we will keep it 0. Once the repo file has been created, to check whether the repo file is correct or not, you have to first clean the old repositories using yum repo clean command, and after that yum repo list you can see the repository. If there are any kind of error in local.repo file, you will find some error over there. Once that task is completed, we will perform the pre-checks. After that, we will broadcast a message on the server using vol command. Then we will take the snapshot of the server. In real environment, we have VMware, and in VMware we tell VMware team to take the snapshot. If you are the owner of the VMware, then you can take the snapshot. And in real environment, there are virtual servers as well as the physical servers. For physical server, you can use rear backup. You can refer my rear backup blog for how to take the backup of physical servers. Now, once the snapshot and everything is completed, log into the console of the server. Always perform OS patching activity from the console of the server. Because in case of any kind of network issue or any kind of file system issue, you won't be able to resolve it via SSH. So it is always suggested that perform OS patching from the console. Once we have on the console, check the packages are available, how much packages are available. And if you see packages are available, then only go for patching. If the packages are not available, that means your repository is a very old repository, and you need to check your repository. Once you see the packages are available, use yum update command and it will update everything on the server. Once the patching is completed, reboot the server. Once the reboot is completed, log into the server on the console first and check you are able to log in onto the console. Then you have to take a new terminal using SSH and execute the post check, pre-check and post check script. Click on post check and check the difference. Here, after this, our OS patching on CentOS VM1 is completed. So now let's do the activity, practical activity. Yeah, we are on the CentOS VM1 machine. We are in the etc yum repo deleted folder. We had made a backup folder, and now we are moving all the CentOS file into the backup folder. Now we will create a local repo file. Here the base URL will be file. Now yum clean all, it will clean all the old repositories. Here you can see there are 4021 packages. It's O year, and this is our repository name, and it is a local. Now we will perform the pre-checks. So pre-checks. Pre-checks is a script which I have developed. You can find the pre-checks and post-check script in my blog. But now here for this patching activity, I have created a different pre-checks and post-check script. Here it is little different from the older one. Here I have taken the backup and the pre-checks. So in pre-folder you can see these are the things like df, ETH tool, mount, RPM, uname, then ifconfig, route table and services. These are the things that I have taken in the pre-checks, but little specifications means exact things so that I can get a proper output in pre and post check command. Now here I have just showing you, for example, if I have done df, I have taken the output of df of only the file system that are available. I have not taken the output of the temporary file systems. Now let's go to the backup folder and check how the output is. Here you can see I have taken everything, means the tempfs, the dev tempfs, so everything is there. So in case if you don't see feel like that in pre-checks and post-check the one file system is missing, then you can refer the backup file. Now we will broadcast the message on the server. So this will tell everyone that we are going to patch the server. So whoever is logging on the server will see this message. Now let's exit from CentOS 1 server and we will take the snapshot of the server. Currently there is no snapshot. Now you can see the snapshot is completed and you can see the date and time of the snapshot created. Hi friends, I just like to highlight one more thing. If you are taking a snapshot, ensure that you delete the snapshot once the application is up and they tells everything is working fine. Because if you don't delete the snapshot will also grow and it will create a performance issue on your VM. Friends, we are going to open a new terminal to take the console of this server, so I can show you the difference. So I am opening a new Putty terminal and here I am going to change the color of the terminal, so you can see the white color. Now here, since it is KVM, you can use this command to see the console. And now we will log into the console of the CentOS VM1 server. Now let's execute yum update command. So now you can see these are the packages that are available. Now let's patch the server using yum update -y command. It will update all the packages that are available on the server. here the patching is completed. Now we are going to reboot the server. So here you can see the new kernel. You can see the new kernel is 957. So the server will be booted with the new kernel. Since you are on the console, you can see all the services that are getting started. If anything goes wrong, you will come to know over on the console itself. There are multiple issues when we log in, when we perform OS patching. Like sometime the file system goes into read-only mode. Sometimes the file system required file system checks. So in such scenario, you require the console. Or sometime if the Ethernet card is not coming up, in that scenario also you require the console. Now you can see, log into the console and see everything. You are able to log in to the server. Now let's go to the old terminal and take the SSH of the server. Now we will execute the post check script. The post check is completed. Now let's check the differences. Here you can find the NFS partition is missing. Here you can find the MNT partition, that the ISO image was missing, and you can, during the post check, even we have found that the partition size sometime get reduced because a wrong file system has been mounted. So there are two ways of checking. One is via df command and the second way is via mnt command, this mount command. Here you can see the old kernel as well as the new kernel. So the patching of this server is completed. Now let's start the part 2. Create remote repository on CentOS VM1. A reason for creating remote repository is if you have multiple CentOS Linux servers, it is very difficult to mount an ISO image to each and every servers and then create a local repository and patch this server. So it's always better to create one repo server, copy the packages on the servers and use it as a remote repository. To create remote repository, we will create the remote repository on CentOS VM1 server. We will mount the ISO image. For communication with the repo server, we will use FTP protocol to communicate with the repo server, and create repo is a package that is required for creating the repository. We will start the VSFTP. We will enable the VSFTP. We will create a folder in where FTP pub repo, and we will copy all the packages from our ISO image which is mounted on MNT folder, and then we will execute the command create repo. If you want to connect your server directly to the internet repository, so here if you don't want the ISO image and everything, you don't want that, you want all the latest packages, so you can deformat this block. I have created a remote repository and using rsync command. Here all the packages are updated to the latest one, but the advantages, and everything has an advantage and disadvantages. The disadvantages is that the repository grows and it takes lot of space. But when it comes to ISO image, the repository is not that big. Now let's start the practical. Let's mount the ISO image on the MNT folder, and now let's install the FTP and create repo packages. Let's start the service. Okay, now we will create the folders. Yeah, now let's create the repo folder. Now let's copy the packages to this repo folder. So the copying is completed. Now we will create repo. Now the repository creation is completed. Let's go to the folder and check the status. You can see the repo folder is created. Let's go to the repo folder, and now you can see the XML files. Now let's start the third part, patching the server using the remote repository. Here the process is let's log into CentOS VM. We will move all the files from the yum repository folder. We will create a backup folder and we'll move all the files over there. Here we are going to create a remote repo file. So this is and then we will update the details over here. These details we are going to update, and the base URL is FTP. Here you can create an HTTP and NFS one also. Then we will perform yum clean all, then yum repo list. After that we will do the pre-checks. Since our environment has both application, web server and database, both are interconnected. So we have to tell both the teams to stop the web server as well as the database servers. There is always a sequence of stopping and starting of the web server and the database servers. First we have to stop the web server, then the database server, and starting sequence is first start the database server, then the web server. Let's broadcast the message. After broadcasting the message, let's take the snapshot, log into the console, check the packages are available. Here sometime the application teams tells us now don't update the Apache packages or the web server packages. So we will be excluding the web server packages and we will patch the server. Once the patching is completed, we will reboot the server, perform the port check and check the differences. So let's log into CentOS VM2 and start the practical. So this is the remote repo file. So this is the file where we have updated the details. Now yum clean all and let's see the repository. Now let's perform the pre-checks. Now you can inform the application team to stop the application. Once the application is stopped, application and database is stopped, you can broadcast the message on the wall. Now let's take the snapshot. Never perform this activity without a snapshot or backup, or a console also. If you don't have console, don't perform such kind of activity, otherwise you will land into trouble. So the snapshot is completed. Let's go to the console of the server. Now let's log into the console of CentOS VM2 and let's perform the patching activity. First, let's check the packages available. Exclude the Apache packages, so it will patch all these packages except the Apache packages. So this is the command. So here you can see 454 packages are available, which are updated. So now OS patching is completed, and now we will reboot the servers. Here you can see the new kernel. The new kernel is installed, that is 957. Now server is up. Let's log into the console. Now you can see you are able to access the server. Now let's take the SSH from the other terminal. Let's perform the pre-checks and post-checks. Now we will perform the post-check. Let's check the differences. So here again you can see the NFS file system, the MNT file systems, and the virtual IP which I have created is missing. So this will help you to resolve the issues. These are the packages that are updated, and you can see the old kernel as well as the new kernel. And here you can see in services that Apache services is not started because it is not auto started enable. Now we have completed the patching of the CentOS VM2 server, that is our web servers. Now we will start the patching of the CentOS VM3 servers. That is let's start the part 4, where the patching of the server using vendor repository, that is internet. In this scenario, we will connect our server directly to the internet, which is not recommended. But still, if you do not have any other alternatives, in that scenario you have to connect your server to the internet. In this scenario, you can only allow to access the vendor repositories on internet. Don't allow everything on the servers. So let's start the practice. Let's understand how we are going to do this thing. Here we are going to check the repository directly. We are not going to move anything into the backup folders. we will perform the pre-checks. Then on the wall we will execute the command, broadcast the command. We will take the snapshot. We will log into the console. Using yum check update, we will check the packages available. Here we are going to patch the server. We are going to exclude the kernel. Sometime the application owner or a database, they say that the kernels are not compatible with the packages, with the new kernel. So in this case we have to exclude the kernel. So here you can see the process of excluding the kernel. Once the patching is completed, you can reboot the server. But if you are excluding the kernel, the reboot is not mandatory. But I still prefer to reboot the server because to get the other package refresh. After reboot, I will perform the post checks and then compare the file. Once this activity is completed, we will inform the database team to start the CentOS, to start the database on CentOS VM3. And once the database is up, we will inform the application team to start the CentOS, so start the application on CentOS VM2 and get the confirmation. So let's start this activity. So let's log into the CentOS VM3. Let me show you the, okay, let's do yum clean all. Then let's go to the folder. And you can see the repos. These are the vendor repositories. In Red Hat, you require subscription manager package to connectivity, to make the connectivity between Red Hat and the vendor, or else you need to create a satellite. The satellite will connect to the vendor repository. It will pull the packages and then you can connect to the satellite using subscription manager. Now let's do the yum repo list. You can see there are base repo, extra repo, then updates are there. Now here you can see the status, that is 10,000 packages are there in the base repo. This is, it will pull all the, this will pull all the updated one, because whatever packages are updated on the vendor repository is always updated one. So it will pull all the updated package on the server. Here it is 10,001. So let's perform the pre-checks and post-checks. The pre-checks script. And now we will broadcast the message on the wall. Now after this we will take the snapshots. Now the snapshot is completed. Now let's go to the console. On console, I was already logged into the console of CentOS VM3 to show you how this message look, the broadcast message look. So these are the packages that are available. So now let's use yum update and we will exclude the kernel over here. So this is the command to exclude the kernel. Now here you can see the package was little more. It is 493. The ISO image, it was little less. Now the patching is completed. Now we will reboot the server. Here you can see only the old kernel. So new kernel has not been updated since we have excluded it. Okay. Now let's log into the console. Yeah, everything is working. Now let's take the SSH of the server. Okay, let's perform the pre-checks. Post checks, sorry, not pre-checks, post check. Here again you can see the NFS file system is missing, the MNT file system is missing, the package that are updated. Now here you can see the SQL service package is not started because auto start is disabled on the server, and since there is no kernel updated, the kernel parameters are missing. Now the activity is completed. Now first we have to inform the database team to start the database, and after that we will inform the application team to start the application. So this part is completed. Now let's perform the fifth part. We will remove the oldest kernel from the server. If you have more than 3 kernels, you can remove the oldest kernel. The process for removing the oldest kernel is log into the console, check the current version of the kernel. Then using rpm-qa kernels, you will see the list of kernels. Remove the oldest kernel. Never try to remove the same kernel or n-1 kernel. Once the kernel is removed, reboot is not required, but I prefer to reboot the server. Then check the from which kernel the server is booted, and again using rpm-qa command, check the kernel. Let's start the practical. So we will be removing the kernel from CentOS VM1, which is our repo server. So let me just reboot the server and show you how it looks. So here you can see 2 kernels. Now we will remove the kernel 327. So the server is booted with 957 kernel. You can see there are 2 kernels packages. So we will be removing the older kernel. Yum remove command is there to remove the old kernel. Now let's take a reboot to see if everything is working fine, but reboot is not mandatory. Here you can see only 1 kernel. Reboot is not mandatory because since the kernel was not active, that was the reason the reboot was not mandatory. Now you can see the server is up and working fine. Let's check the kernel. So you can see the kernel packages. So you can see 957 kernel and the kernel packages also. Now let's move to the last part where we will boot our server with the older kernel. Sometime the application does not start with the new kernel. During the troubleshooting, you can boot the server with the older kernel and you can check whether the application is working fine. If the application is working fine with the older kernel, boot the server with the older kernel and make it permanent. So this is I'm going to show you over here. So first log into the console, check the kernel, then we have to check the how many kernels are there in the grub configuration. Then we have to set the default kernel. Then we have default kernel in grub, and then we have to make the grub file and reboot the server and check the kernel. So let's start the practical. So we are going to perform this activity on our web server, that is CentOS VM2. So you can see the kernel is booted with 957. So now let's check the kernel entries in the grub files. The first kernel, it is 0. The second kernel, that 327 will be the 1 and the rescue will be the 2. So we will be setting it to the 1. Now we will compile the grub configuration. Now let's reboot the server. You can see now it is going directly to the second kernel. Now you can see the server is up and working fine. Let's check the kernel, booting kernel, and let's check the packages also. You can see the new kernel packages are also available. If you want to remove the new kernel, you can perform the same step which we have done. Thank you.